All right, welcome everyone. Today, we're going undercover to investigate the secret lives of nouns. It turns out these words we use every single day are leading some pretty surprising double lives, and our first case file is a perfect example of this.
Okay, check this out. Here's our first mystery. The jury is unanimous, and then the jury are divided. What's going on here? I mean, it's the same subject, jury, but the verb totally changes. So is one of these sentences just plain wrong, or is something a little more clever happening? To crack this case, we need to bring in our first suspect, the collective noun. So what is a collective noun anyway? Well, it's actually pretty simple. It's just one single name we use for a whole bunch of people or things. Think about it. Instead of listing out every single player, we just say the team. It's a neat little shortcut, right? And this is where English gets super cool. It's filled with these wonderfully specific names. It's not just a group of experts. Nope, it's a panel. It's a flock of sheep, a pride of lions, and a fleet of ships. Each word really paints a different picture. And this brings us right back to our original mystery with the jury. The secret sauce here is whether the group is acting as one single unit or as a bunch of separate individuals. So when the jury is all on the same page, when it is unanimous, we treat it as one thing and use a singular verb. But when the members are all arguing and can't agree, when they are divided, well, now they're acting like individuals. We call this a noun of multitude, and bam, we use a plural verb. It's the exact same word, playing two completely different roles. How cool is that? All right, pop quiz time for you. The committee, unable to agree on this question, should it be is or were? Well, think about it. Are they acting as one cohesive unit? If they're unable to agree, they're definitely not acting as one. They're individuals. And that means we need the plural, were. The committee were unable to agree. Got it? So why should you even care about this? Well, knowing this little trick makes your writing and speaking that much more precise. It's one of those subtle details that really shows you have a solid command of the language. All right, case one is closed. For our next investigation, we're diving into the difference between the raw stuff something's made of versus the finished product. And this leads us to something called a material noun. All this is the name for the actual substance that things are made from, like gold, paper, or water. And the key thing to remember here is that it's usually uncountable. I mean, you'd never say you have 3 golds or 2 waters, would you? But you could have 3 pieces of gold or 2 glasses of water. This comparison makes it super clear. So you can count the number of sheep out in a field, right? 1 sheep, 2 sheep. That's a common noun. But the meat from the sheep, mutton, well, that's a material noun. You can't really count it. Same deal with a countable ring versus the uncountable material it's made from, gold. So in a sentence like, this necklace is made of gold, it's easy to see. Necklace is the thing you can count, that's our common noun, and gold is the uncountable stuff it's made from, our material noun. And again, why does this matter? It all boils down to getting your grammar right. Understanding this difference is what helps you use plurals and articles like a or the correctly. It's the whole reason you don't say a gold or many papers. Okay, so far, everything we've looked at has been tangible. Stuff you can see or touch. But what about the things you can't? Ideas, feelings, concepts. How in the world do we name the unseen? And that, my friends, is the world of the abstract noun. This is the name we give to all those things we can't perceive with our 5 senses. Things like bravery, friendship, freedom, or happiness. You can't see them or hold them, but you know for sure that they're real. So how do you even spot these invisible nouns? Well, luckily for us, they often leave clues behind. Think of these common word endings, these suffixes, as their secret codes. If you see a word ending in ness or tation or ship, there's a really good chance you're dealing with an abstract noun. And these nouns don't just pop up out of nowhere. They're actually built from other words we already know. We can take an adjective, like brave, and turn it into the quality of bravery. Or we take a common noun, like friend, and create the idea of friendship. We can even take a verb, like obey, and it becomes the state of obedience. And of course, just to keep us on our toes, some words lead a double life without changing their form at all. Take words like love, hope, and fear. They can be the action, the verb, or they can be the concept itself, the abstract noun, like I love grammar versus my love for grammar is immense. All right, hold on, because we've reached the final and honestly the most mind-bending part of our investigation. We've seen that nouns fit into different categories, right? But what if I told you they can actually jump from one category to another? Get ready for nouns in disguise.
Here it is, the final reveal. A noun's identity isn't set in stone. The job it's doing, its very type, can totally transform based on how you use it in a sentence. Now this is where the real grammar detective work comes in.
Okay, look at the sentence right here. Now, we know Byron was a real person, a famous English poet. That makes the word Byron a proper noun, a specific name for one specific guy. But in this sentence, something's different. So what's going on here? The sentence isn't actually talking about Lord Byron, the person. Instead, it's using his name to mean a type of person, a romantic poet. That specific name, that proper noun, has morphed into a common noun that stands for a whole category of people. Wild, right? And it's not just names that can do this. Check out the abstract noun, justice. When you say a man of justice, you're talking about an idea. But when you say he is a justice of the high court, suddenly that word means a person, a judge. The abstract idea becomes a concrete person. It's the same thing when the idea of beauty becomes a beauty, meaning a specific person. And this, right here, is the master rule for this whole investigation. Forget about memorizing rigid lists. The real key, the number one thing to remember, is context. The way a word is used in a sentence can change absolutely everything about it, its function, its meaning, and its entire identity. So let's end with this thought. If a noun, one of the most basic building blocks of language, has this secret flexible life, what other grammar rules that we've always taken as absolute fact are maybe a lot more flexible than we think? Language is a living, breathing thing, and it's always ready to surprise us. Thanks for joining this investigation.